Welcome back to Sub-Zero Hero, the FM21 save, where we're trying to go from the bottom of Norwegian football all the way to the top, relying on nothing but our youth intake for player recruitment. And look at the season preview for Season 4 in the Premier Division for us. Does not look like things are getting any easier. We're 901 shots for the title, the bottom ranked club in the division. However, if I'd have shown you this season preview before the transfer window closed yesterday, we would not have been the bottom ranked club. Things have been going a little bit awry behind the scenes, and the interference of the board is not the only setback we've suffered during the off-season. So here's setback number 1. The Swedish outfit Elfsborg came in with a bid for our central defender Lars-Ola Hansen. It was a derisory offer, 725,000. I turned it down without even thinking about it, but after a couple of hours of deliberation, Elfsborg came back with a revised offer of £1.1 million this time, and much to my distaste, the board jumped in and accepted it on the club's behalf. I was able to protest it, thankfully, and I got the board to see sense, and they rejected the offer. Well, how long did that last? Another 2 hours? Maybe slightly less. And they came in with an offer of just £100,000 more, 1.2 million in total, and the board accepted it behind my back again. I'd used up my get out of jail free card, and I wasn't able to protest it this time. The only option for me was to have resigned my position. So if we're going to do anything this season, we're going to be doing it without one of our centre halves. It leaves us incredibly light at the back. And the sale of Idoi Hansen is perhaps not the worst setback we suffered this season. So this was arguably the bigger setback during the off-season. We needed our head of youth intake to bring through a good batch of youngsters. In fact, if you remember from the last episode, he promised us a good batch. He was waxing lyrical about a full-back, a central midfielder, a winger, a forward. Did we get any of that? I do not believe that we did, yet he had the audacity to brand this a golden generation. I think this could be the worst batch we've had through in years. Unfortunately, Carl Uvrestad's contract was up, and given how good his last youth intake was, I rewarded him with another 2-year contract. I rather wish I hadn't done that now, because look at the quality of player that he was bringing through. This is one of the best of them. We only took 3 of them on. One of them was Odd Carl Sjöström. A centre-half really, could fill in at left-back, although his stamina is very poor. He can't tackle very well. His passing is atrocious. His work rate is disappointing. I'm not sure that this guy is cut out for Premier Division football, but following the sale of Idoi Hansen, alarmingly, Sjöström might even make appearances this season. Below him, it was a whole lot of dross. This unambitious personality is going to be a theme that we need to get used to, because it was evident in Williamson, it was evident in Nielsen. Wait for it, we haven't even got going yet. Here's Matianga Dem, who mixes poor attributes with a terrible personality. This is the great fullback that our head of youth development promised us. Absolutely terrible, if you ask me. And the unambitious personalities kept on rolling in. Lars-Ola Esbjord, another player who was clearly never going to make it in our first team squad. Unambitious was the predominant personality coming out through this intake. If I'd have taken them all on, I think they would have polluted the under-19s. And bearing in mind, I haven't even scrolled down to the worst of them. This was a disappointing batch. I only took on Sjöström and 2 other players. And even the 2 other players I took on were not great, if I'm honest. The top prospect is Morten Fjellingsdal, a young striker with finishing of 6, dribbling of 4, and he's afraid of his own shadow. What's he got going in his favour? He's 6'4", he's very fit, He can pass and tackle a little bit, I guess, and he can at least play in the midfield, although with bravery of 3, would you want him in the midfield? I'm not sure that you would, so I guess you'd say a target man with poor finishing is his best chance of making it as a professional footballer, but bravery of 3 is going to hinder you as a target man as well, so whether this guy ever gets involved with the first team, I really am not sure. Perhaps the only player with a chance from this batch of making it is Mjorten Stiervold, a promising attacking midfielder. Well, at least I'm on board with his personality. That is much better. Physically, he's no great shakes, but we can work on it. He has got some more pleasing attributes. The vision's good. The teamwork and work rate are good for a central midfielder. He's got flair and good decision making. Potentially, in a midfield 3, could he be a Mazzala? Maybe he could. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Try and get him involved with some first team football this season. But I was well underwhelmed by this youth intake at a time when we really needed a good one to help us push on. Fortunately, some of our players that have come through over the last couple of seasons had a particularly good year's worth of development. Let's check in on them next. So all of the players that trained the best during the last campaign are also leading our training ratings for this season as well, starting with Christian Berntsen. This guy is a miracle of modern science. He's made more than 100 attribute points worth of progress over his 2 years at the club. 60 odd in his first season, another 40 odd last season, and he is looking like an excellent midfield prospect for us now, and he trains like Rocky Balboa, getting ready for a fight with Ivan Drago. But he's not the only one. Jonas Skogvang Pedersen has only been with us a year, but in that year he's made the biggest attribute point gain of any youth player we've seen, going up more than 70 attribute points. Asad Jawad had a good season last year as well. He's now nicely converted as a centre-half. He went up more than 40 attribute points, as did Yuri Grachev, who is now getting physically where we'd like a left-back to be, and he went up 40 odd attribute points as well, and has had 2 under-21 caps for Russia at the age of 15. Going back to Jawad, by the way, he spent the summer playing at the Asian Games and has 4 caps for Iraq. So he is playing international football as well. Our mate Paul Runnigan has been with us for 3 years now, and he continues to make great development, either as that false 9 that we're going to play, or as a Mazzala in midfield perhaps. He is looking like a decent prospect. The only player I would say we were a little bit disappointed with the development of was Christian Tajsperovic. He's been with us a year. He only came through the last youth intake. I thought he was the best of the players that came through. Maybe I misread that one a little bit. Fairly ambitious. I was quite hopeful might mean that he would go and make some good progress for us on the training ground, but he's only gone up 9 attribute points over the last season. He was involved in the first team quite significantly during the last campaign, and he was our first choice winger for the first half of the season, and he made some good contributions, but he's been left behind a little bit by his peers because of their incredible progress and his rather sluggish performance on the training ground. So that's how the players have been developing. Maybe next we should take a look at the tactic that we're going to use to start the season with. So we're going to continue with this 4-3-3. We've got a couple of tactical variations that we are training, but this is going to be our primary tactic, at least for the first 4 or 5 games, till I realise it's not working and I whimper my way back apologetically to a hoofball 4-4-2. We have made some tweaks to the player roles, even though in terms of all of the instructions we've given the team, they're identical to how we finished the season. So rather than a ball-winning midfielder on support in front of the back 4, we're going to play a defensive midfielder on defend as well. And thank you to the comment section for advising on that one. Today, we're going to try little Kimi Heron out there. I realise he's only got tackling of 8, but I think he might be a better option for us there than players like Ola Christian Jensen, who really aren't up to Premier Division football. Going forward, we were playing two box-to-box midfielders. We're going to keep one, but we're going to try and play a Mazzala as the second of our central midfield too. Runnigan could easily play there, and Emper could come into the team as the lone frontman. For today, I think we might try out one of those youth players in Morten Stiervold. I like his teamwork, I like his work rate, I love his flair as well. And a little bit of vision in our midfield would not hurt. I realise at 15 he's going to be a little raw and he's not going to be able to play every game for us, but with such a limited youth intake, I'm keen to try and develop what little talent we did get. And then going forward, I've made a couple of changes behind the lone frontman. Towards the end of last season, I had an inverted winger on one side and an attacking winger on the other. I'm going to try and use two inside forwards instead, both on attack duties. It's probably Hartvigson's best role, I think. He did not have a great season last campaign, only scoring 3 goals in the league for us, compared to 21 the season before. Maybe getting him as this advanced wide player on an inside forward, just ghosting in at the far post for finishes, might help him. We're also going to play Herken Skogdal over on the right today. I was playing him as a winger last time. He's right-footed, so really I'd like to try and train him to be an alternative to Hartvigsson over on the left. But during pre-season I've been playing him as an inside forward there, and he's done pretty well and scored some goals for us. So I think that's what we're going to use him as today. We do have plenty of options in our squad for those wide positions, as well as Ty Sperovic that we could bring in. We've still got the likes of Riding and Sjörnesson from a few years ago. But the other player I really do like is this Jonas Skogvang Pedersen, who was a left winger. I've trained him so that he could play the inside forward role as a left footer cutting in rather than Skogvang. So these two, or Skogdal I should say, so Skogvang and Skogdal could both be the players that we play in these advanced wide midfield slots if Hartvigsson is having another absolute stinker of a season. We should probably also show you who we're up against today and the start that we've been handed for our campaign, and it's not that easy if I'm honest. They've given us an opening day derby against Tromsdalen. We're going to be the home team, but then we've also got some other tough games coming up in our opening 8 fixtures or so. We've got Bode Glimt straight away after that, before we've got games coming up against Molde, Vålerenga, Rosenborg, Brann not that far away either. These are all the teams that are fancied to get those European places and compete for the title. We've got them all coming up in our first half dozen games or so. So it's going to be pretty tricky for us. An opening day derby, well, doesn't really fill you with confidence. We played them in pre-season. We sent a second 11 out to face them, primarily because we had so many players off on international duty with various youth teams from around the world. And we managed to snatch a 1-1 draw with them then. We're going to have our first choice 11 back for the game today, apart from possibly our most important player, Trondagna Bratton, is going to be suspended because of the bookings that he accumulated at the back end of the last campaign that are carried forward to this. So we're going to have to make a couple of little changes to our lineup. We're going to have to pick the bench, and then we're going to see you for an opening day derby fixture where hopefully we could get off to a good start. Okay, we are underway, our 4th season in the Premier Division. And we've been handed a derby game on the opening day of the season, with Bratton missing, by the way, as we have a goal disallowed inside the opening 5 minutes from Skogdal, with Bratton suspended for today's game and Lars Ole Idoi Hansen sold. We have no other defensive options other than Anders Heidecker, so he comes into the team. He's small and he's slow, a lethal combination, and he's alongside Jawad in the defence, who's quicker, but he's only 5'11" as well, so we are going to be a little bit fragile at the back. And they've got Oscar Agadou as a striker who we know is a lethal marksman. We very nearly got off to a great start with that disallowed goal. It didn't look offside to me, but now we've got some defending to do. We managed to win the ball back, but we've just given it to Agger, and Pedersen gets down and nurdles it round the post. Little bit of an edgy start for our defence. They've got a corner, they've slung it in. Grachev gets the ball away. What we wouldn't give for a good opening day victory just to get our campaign off to a positive start, because we have got plenty of tough games to come. However, apart from that disallowed goal at the beginning, we've not offered much in the opening quarter of this game, have we? We have got some players out there who have played very, very well in pre-season, and we gave them some tough fixtures in pre-season. But we know that carrying that on into your league form is a completely different proposition. We're into the highlights again. 33 minutes onto the clock. And it's a free kick for them that we charged down, and that was the end of the highlights. We've got another one, 37 minutes in, and we've not really seen a lot from us so far. We want to see how this tactic does in a league game. We've got those inside forwards cutting in. They're being backed up by some wide players now. We've got Berntsen as the box-to-box midfielder firing in a shot. Their keeper plucks it out the air, and that's not the end of the highlights, is it? And I said we've got a very small defence, you can see. Jawad beaten in the air by Agger, but the highlight continues. This is a long one. Hartvigsen to the new youngster Sturvold, playing as that Mazzala now. Got it out to Hartvigsen. Could we get a ball into the box? Mazzala's involved. We got Grachev swinging it in. Runnigan had an effort. It was a tough chance, to be fair to him. The match stats are looking a little bit better now. You say the boys have sprung into life a little bit. But we're going into half-time and we are goalless. So I think we should probably have a little look at our tactics. We've not got a great deal on the bench to bring on. Maybe an inspirational team talk might help us get the breakthrough. Okay, we're back underway, and we've made a change because Hartvigsen was pooped. Don't know whether he picked up a little bit of a knock in that first half, but it means that we switched Skogdal to be a right-footed player over on the left, and brought on Skogvang Pedersen to be a left-footed player over on the right. He's quick, albeit a little bit raw still, but it means we've got double Skogs out there on the wings, and I'm pretty excited about both of these prospects. We're getting towards the hour mark. 10 shots, 6 on target. Runnigan's got a set play, blazes it wide. Tempted to demand a little bit more from the players. We've got some decent performances in the defence, and by Herum at the base of the midfield going forward, not got as much good going on. Runnigan's in, another header. Maybe another little change we might make might be to drop Runnigan into midfield for the last 20 minutes and get Tiny Emper on up front. In fact, as we hurtle towards the 70-minute mark, let's make that change now. How has our young pup got on? Sturvold has done all right with a 6.8. Not a bad debut from the boy. We're going to move Runnigan out to be that Mazzala. We're going to bring Big Hugo on up front. During pre-season, when Hugo's been getting game time, we've played him as that false 9 as well. Not sure he's quite as suited to it as Runnigan is. But we're going to leave the system the same. I reckon you'd say on the balance of those match stats, we should be doing a little bit more. Let's encourage the team for the last 10 minutes or so. That's helped with the body language. And let's see whether we can get the breakthrough. Looks like we've got a corner. Grachev is on them. He's the best we can do. Corner taking of 8, I think he's got. And they've blasted the ball clear. That can't be the highlight. There was no chance at all. We're back out to Grachev. Runnigan there as the Mazzala now. Berg is on the wrong wing. He's our right back. Well, luckily he was there because he did mop up for us. We got Grachev. He sent the ball in. There's one of our Skogs coming in at the far post. Not able to make the chance tell, but the highlight looks like it's continuing. We've let him through at the back, and it's Jawad, and Agadoo doesn't miss those. We've been caught on the counter. Oh, and you have to say that our defence without Bratton in it is as weak as a newborn kitten, and not the strong one of the litter either. But the absolute runt, and Agadoo blazes one past our keeper. and our shout of encouragement was misplaced. It should have been berate, and we're going to try and make one more change. Heidecker's the player you want to bring off. He's on a 6.4, this guy. He's an absolute liability. But the board have left us with nothing else. With Bratton suspended, we'd have been playing Lars Ole Hansen today. But now he's off in the Allsvenskan with Elfsborg. The change I guess we're going to make then is we're going to bring on Schönerson. We're going to take off Skogdal. Or are we going to make a little change to our formation? I did say, let's undo that. I did say we had another couple of tactical plans up our sleeve. Maybe we switch to the Ricky Martin using Emper as the target man for us. Let me see if I can find another striker that could play alongside him. And then we'll see you for the last 7 minutes of the game. Okay, change of system, change of personnel. Schönerson is on for Skogdal, but as an advanced right winger, as we use the Ricky Martin 4-2-4 to try and get back into the game. And I don't think the formation was particularly responsible for that. That was a set play that could have happened with any formation, I guess. But Emper has sent in a free kick. The goalkeeper has spilt it. And Runnigan, who's now back up front as an advanced forward alongside Tiny Emper, has got us a goal. But you've got to say, on the balance of those match stats, a 1-1 draw is a disappointment, really. If a 1-1 draw is indeed what we're going to get, because the highlights are continuing. And we've got our other Skog, who's still on the pitch, breaking up the left wing, but the goalkeeper was not tested on that occasion. The referee has blown up before we managed to get up to their end of the pitch. What would we say is positive to take out of that game? Runnigan scored. The midfield two played okay. Grachev was good. Jawad, I think, when he's back alongside Bratton, is going to be secure. But I am so nervous that after our first two central defenders, one of whom really wants to be a left back, we have got nothing that we can bring into the team as backup. We are going to say that they were unlucky tonight because they did play well, but these boys have got an awful tough run of fixtures coming up. So there you go. Let us know down in the comments, what do you think of the tactical tweaks that we've made? Inside forwards, Mazzalas, defensive midfielders in front of the back four. Is that going to help us progress up the league this season? We're going to go offline, play a few games. By the time you come back, we'll see what kind of form we're in our efforts to become Sub-Zero heroes.